Girls gotta fight for her rightful share. What you gonna do when the chips are down? Now that the chips are down. What you gonna do when the chips are down? Now that the chips are down. Help yourself, to hell with the rest. Even the one who loves you best. What you gonna do when the chips are down?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Riot Starts, a Hadestown-based TTRPG by Riley Rethal that focuses on community building and revolting against the oppressive capitalist hell of the underworld. As a reminder, you can find this game and more by Riley Rethal at metagame.itch.io. And we're going to go around, reintroduce ourselves, and reintroduce you to our characters. My name is Zoe. My pronouns are they, she. I'm going to be playing Lorna, the canary, which is inspired by the myth of Eurydice, and her pronouns are she, her.
Hi, everybody. I'm Elliot, and I'm playing Rook. My pronouns and Rook's pronouns are both they, them, and I am playing the Orphic, and it's based off of Orpheus, and we're gonna see what they're up to. What do you mean they're not supposed to be here? I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey everyone, I'm Raven. My pronouns are Z here. I am playing Rowan Chandler, whose pronouns are he, they, and I am using the playbook of the Rebel, which is based on the myth of Antigone.
Hi guys, I'm Vinvox, he, they. I'll be playing Jackal, they, them, the cheater, based off the myth of Sisyphus.
Hi, I'm Rachel, Miss Petty Dreadful on the internet. I am pronoun she, her. I am playing Anya. She is the engineer, which is based on the myth of Daedalus. Pronouns also she, her.
Cool. And it's just as a reminder to everyone watching, the underworld we built last time is made up of hindrances, lacks, and haves. Our underworld that we built together has the hindrances of the kind queen who convinces the workers they should not strike, a once revolutionary song co-opted long ago by your oppressors, and the sight of Elysium in the distance beckoning. Our underworld lacks public transport, a safe space from violence, and space to be alone. But our underworld has permission to be vulnerable with each other and an ally at the top, which is the Fate Clotho. Our dice pool, after we ended last session, we ended up with 7 dice in the community dice pool after everything. I have 3 alienation dice, Rowan has 1, and Jackal has 1, and Rook and Anya have 0. So last time on the Riot Starts, Rook arrived in the underworld searching for their lost childhood friend Jackal, and their arrival brought this small group of people together. Wanting to get Rook out safely before they were discovered and maybe change things for the better for themselves in the process, these 5 decided to try to work together. But differing goals and trust issues kept them from truly becoming a team. Nonetheless, with the aid of the Fate Clotho, the group secured a secret room they could work from, though it would only be available sporadically and only Lorna would know when that was. The group then decided to start stealing parts for a machine that would be used to usher Rook's departure, one that would be built by Anya Lamb. Jackal agrees to accidentally destroy one of the assembly line machines and asks Rowan to cause a distraction before they were actually informed which parts were needed. The plan does go off, and after Anya surveys the damage, she's able to squirrel away the parts for later transport. Jackal, for their part, is punished severely by the underworld supervisors. Lorna snuck Rook off to the nearby bar so they wouldn't be spotted, and the two shared some awkward, tender moments before the rest of the group found them. But when the group went back to retrieve the parts, they discovered they had disappeared, disposed of, or stolen, or something else. It's hard to know for sure. And that is where we find our group, our little rebellion now, deciding on our 3rd goal. So, does anyone have any thoughts about what we want our next goal to be? The first goal was trying to form the group together, which didn't go super well. Second goal was, of course, trying to acquire the parts for the machine, which also didn't go very well. But hopefully third time is the charm.
Well, the parts are gone,
Mhm.
so we might want to either figure out who took them or try to get more again. That's
Okay.
where my brain is.
I think trying to figure out if someone purposefully took them from us is a good idea. Because that'll give us something a little different to work towards than just finding new parts and see if there's someone else trying to sabotage us. Cool. So our next goal is to figure out who took the parts. Does anyone have an idea for the first scene to frame around that goal? As a reminder, each of us will frame a specific scene centered around this goal, and after all 5 of us have gone, we'll roll dice and see how successful the goal was.
I mean, we're walking out of the bar, and then we got to the area where the parts were, right?
Yeah, that's where we ended, but we can also, if you have an idea that goes straight from that, we can do that, or we can do like a small time skip. It doesn't have to be right after that moment, but it can be.
I think a scene of like establishing potential subject or like suspects who took it could be useful. And then that also I think allows us to kind of flesh out who else lives in the world too.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Where is this happening?
Probably in our little secret hidey hole.
Mhm. That makes
Um,
sense.
to see, and then Anya, it's probably Anya wants to go to check to see if anyone has gotten in because she was leaving it to where she would notice if anyone had gotten in. So she probably goes to check that, and then everyone comes along and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, so the whole group goes back to this, I think we described it last time as a trapdoor that led down a little stairwell that led into a bigger room below the floor. And I think it's interesting if when we go through, what was the trap that Anya had set again?
Just like a small fiber or wire, like what you would put like a hair over a door to see if somebody had opened it, just like something like that to see if it had broken, to see if anyone had gotten in.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for that to be broken when everyone goes down.
Ah, shit.
What?
It's someone's been in here. And she'll like lift it up and kind of peek in to see if anybody's inside. Jackal, can I see that lantern?
By all means. And
Shine a light in. See if anybody's in there.
Probably no one in there, but I imagine since the parts went missing before, I think the little bit that we had managed to gather is also missing now.
Gone.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay. Our cover's been blown. And Anya will climb down, hand the lantern back, and come in to just see if there's anything left.
I think Lorna is fidgeting a little bit. She's starting to panic because now she thinks Clotho might have told someone else or betrayed them. She's having a small moment of panic over that right now.
Rook sees that and puts like a hand on her shoulder. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't.
Well, if somebody's been here, we shouldn't hang around for long.
No.
No, but let's see if they left any trace of themselves. Yeah.
I mean, we're already blown.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone stumbled on this place rather than they were told about it, they might not know exactly who was doing stuff down here. So it might not be completely over.
Unless there's a property of Anya written on them, I hope we'll be fine. You didn't do that, right?
No, I did not sign my name to the illicit activities I was doing under the cover of night. What?
Look, some people
Hooray
just
for common sense. Ugh. But it looks like we're back to the drawing board. Congratulations.
We need to figure out who did this before we start anything new. Because if we keep trying, they're just going to keep messing with us if they do know it's us. Otherwise, we've lost this space. And I would rather not lose this space. So if we're able to figure out who it is, maybe we don't lose the space too. Right?
Yeah, and if we lose the space, I mean, the space is important, but Rook, if they know about you, we need to know that as well.
agreed.
Because
don't
who knows
know
what
who
they'll do with
knows.
that information.
Yeah, I guess I could keep wearing that hood for now. Stand out a little less.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's a
Or-
little strange, don't you think, that we haven't been busted already if people know who we are? Like, it seems to me
Depends who
like,
knows.
seems to me like anyone who saw this kind of thing would go straight to a foreman. So if,
Maybe they did,
mm,
and we just haven't found out yet.
see, that's unlikely. At least in my experience, they tend to get right at you.
Ain't that the truth? Ugh.
So who would just want to stop us and not get us in trouble? That's my question.
Someone who doesn't want to cause a stir.
Or someone looking for blackmail, maybe. Someone who wants something to hold over us.
Could be.
Look, maybe we're all lucky. They just found the spot, scooped the shit, and our trace isn't here. Anya didn't leave any signature. It could be anybody, and they could have just turned this shit in.
I'd say, who did you piss off last? But that's kind of a big question.
I wouldn't worry about that.
Good. I trust you.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
If they know about, excuse me, if they know about the cellar and we're able to follow to the dumpster, then they have to know that it's us, right?
Yeah, probably. That makes sense.
Or it's two separate instances.
That's convenient.
And in our favor.
That would be in our favor, which is probably why we should just assume that it's one person who knows it's us.
Okay.
Just expect the worst, and maybe we can be surprised when it's not the worst, you know?
Fine.
I appreciate your rare optimistic instinct, though, Jackal.
Just shooting my shot for the best.
Does anyone here have any enemies?
You're asking the one who gives sermons on the regular if they have any enemies.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say it.
Is there
I know what I am.
anyone specific in particular that always seems really upset when
Who
you
would
start,
want-
Rowan?
Who would want to hurt you but wouldn't turn you over to a foreman? If this was about you.
Maybe they're annoyed.
Maybe just want you to stop. Don't want to cause a fight, but
Enough trouble to keep you quiet.
I hate to say it, but she's not mean, but Queen never likes what I'm doing.
I think we've got our first suspect then.
Yeah. That would make sense. She wouldn't want to cause a panic, but she would try to stop us.
Me
But then that also
especially.
means
She hates my talk.
investigating the queen.
But she has not intervened with you. And Anya points to Rook, which means maybe our attempts at subterfuge have worked and she does not know about you.
Maybe, but would she be so bold to just straight up come to us and turn me in? I mean, if she knows why I'm here, and all things considered, I think she might feel a little bit sentimental.
Yeah, I think if she knew, though, she would try to get you out. I don't know. Maybe she's less proactive than I give her credit for.
So, I don't know. I don't know her personally. You guys probably have more interactions. She comes upstairs sometimes, but I'm not sure. I've only talked to her maybe once, twice in my life. And the visits don't happen often anymore, so.
Right.
Mhm.
I can try to see if I can get one of us to be able to talk to her, at least to start there. Not like question her, obviously that would be very a very stupid thing to do. But even just talk to her, see how she reacts to seeing us, to hearing from one of us, and maybe we can get a clue from that.
And what do we say? Just on completely false pretenses, or
I don't know, I didn't think that far ahead.
I mean, what if Rowan, have you had many interactions with the queen?
Not personally. I just know she doesn't like what I do.
Hmm.
She doesn't. She's not a fan of trouble, but she also doesn't like either way, you know. She doesn't want people getting up in arms about things. She doesn't want people making a fuss, but she also doesn't want to make one, you know.
Okay. Oh, well, maybe. Sorry.
I was gonna say, you know, if things were otherwise, maybe proposition to or something, but I don't know.
I think for now we keep you in our back pockets, and Rowan, maybe you just try to talk to her.
You
Sounds
want
like a
me
plan.
to do it?
Maybe tell her you want to
Improve
make some kind of
conditions, like you're
yeah.
trying to negotiate something.
Hadestown Union?
We can't use that word around here.
No.
Oh, heck.
No. Absolutely not that.
No, but lift their spirits. She likes that kind of thing, I think.
She does.
Mhm.
I could. Jackal, you're better at talking than me. Would you want to go?
Oh, are you sure about that?
Do you mean?
To individual people, at least.
I
I'm
mean,
good at
you can't go
crowds.
alone, so.
The queen doesn't want a lot of trouble if you go and show her, and like Lorna will like reference where bruises probably still are on Jackal from the trouble. She probably wouldn't like that, at least, so that might be something in our favor if you go with them.
Yes, we could spin a tale that I mismanaged some machinery and they took their anger out on me, blah, 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 blah. Fine. It works.
That is what
I mean,
happened.
if
Yeah.
anything were to
Technically.
get the rest of the workers riled up, that's the sort of thing that might start something she wants to put an end to. You could threaten to expedite what you've been shouting about, or see if she's willing to intervene.
And meanwhile, while we have the queen and possibly a couple foremen to escort us distracted, y'all can rearrange some parts.
Yeah.
Find a new place. Get reorganized.
Sounds good.
I'm down.
Sounds like
All
we got a
right.
plan.
Cool. We can fade out the scene there. Now, as of last time, we can go through all of our die generation questions and see if any of us generated dice in that scene. Just as a reminder, for example, my die generation question is: you favor pragmatism over idealism. Add dice when you question the methods of those around you. I think Lorna was questioning the Queen's methods, but to be fair, I think everyone was. So I think it still counts because it was still a pragmatic outlook, even if it was shared by everyone. But if anyone thinks that shouldn't count.
You're good.
Okay. So I'll add that die. I'll add it to the community pool because I think that was for the good of the group. Cool. Does anyone else think they generated a die during that scene?
Did I come up with a creative solution to a problem? Yes or no? I feel like all of us did. So I don't know
That
if I
was a
get the
group
die.
effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Anya who presented the fully formed idea, so I think that could count for it.
Okay. Cool.
Cool. So that's another one for the community pool or the alienation pool.
I actually think that a lot of the idea is to take heat off of Anya personally after stuff got missing. So I'm actually going to take an alienation die.
Sure. Sure. Cool. And then the next part, does anyone think a relationship changed or grew that would switch an alienation die to the community die or vice versa? Okay, looks like no.
So.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
We're all pretty similar still.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So who wants to frame the next scene? Or who has an idea for it at least?
Do y'all want to go straight to like addressing the queen, or is there like anything else you want to do in between first?
I think addressing the queen's probably a good start because we're gonna split up gangs. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys doing the queen stuff first would be good because if depending on how that goes, it might also help frame up how we are handling things depending on if something goes wrong or we hear something. So I think it'd probably be like smart to start with the queen unless anybody thinks otherwise.
That makes sense. For what it's worth, I have an idea for my framed scene, which involves Lorna going to talk to Clotho to see if she did tell anyone about the secret space or if there's anything to do to like get a new one. But obviously, I think the queen stuff is more interesting and more prevalent, or prevalent at the moment.
Okay. So the next question is, who wants to play the queen?
I can play the queen.
Okay. So, I'll take the framing. I guess this is. Would y'all like this to be the next day or like immediately after? Like they just team break and go off, or
I think
We
We
Yeah,
have to
after a
sleep
shift.
eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
okay.
I think later just because it'll take a while to get the audience.
yeah.
Mhm.
And plus, a lot has happened today, and a lot of shenanigans have happened, like on the work floor. So trying to get an audience with the queen immediately would also be pretty wild if that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
That's good timing on that end if that was something.
Fair. Okay, then. So, of course, it'll be the following day. Jackal is playing up the injuries. Like, they've gotten old clothes for bandages and whatnot. Like, somebody trying to sue. They're leaning on Rowan and hobbling. I don't know if they have to, like, get the ordinance or the what have you from a foreman or whatnot, but la di da, boom, queen. Did Rook have anything? Not Rook. I'm sorry. Did Rowan have anything they want to discuss on the way there? Is there anything special they put in the paperwork? So
No, I think we're just I think I'm very much in the like, okay, let's see where we can get with the premise we're starting on. Like, I just want
okay,
to
cool.
I want this to go as smoothly as possible because it has not been going smoothly up until now.
You're telling me. Yeah, smooth. We can definitely do smooth. We can't do smooth. Out of character. But yeah, that's who they are.
Okay. So I think the meeting with the queen is probably in I imagine she has some kind of weird in that very like Hadestown aesthetic, like an office slash throne down in the lower areas where the workers are, not as low as the workers, but like something that the message is clear that she's like one of the people, but also still a little above the people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when Rowan and Jackal go to meet with her, they climb up this little set of steps into her office slash throne room. She is sitting behind a desk with a goblet that is very clearly filled to the brim with wine that she's drinking from as they walk in. Rowan Chandler,
My lady?
I'm surprised you wanted to meet like this instead of on the work floors like you normally prefer to do.
Sometimes things are a little too important. Sometimes I have to learn how to move with the pack.
Well, it makes me really glad to hear you say that, Rowan. You know, it's always such nasty business when the workers get all riled up and I have to come down there and soothe the tensions. It's much more pleasant to meet and talk like this, don't you think? Do you want a drink? Do you want some wine? And you, Jackal, right? Yes.
Your Highness, I'd bow if my spine wasn't going to explode any second.
Oh dear, what happened to you?
You wouldn't believe it. just brutality for no reason. Just a simple mistake, and here I am all bruised and bladdered.
Amazing. I think she like steeples her fingers over her desk, like looking at you and says, "Go on, tell me more. What exactly happened?" You know, I've always said that even though I don't like what Rowan does down there when they get the workers' ire raised up, I also don't like it when the workers are mistreated. You know, everyone should just, and she like takes a deep breath, work together, you know, and that's what'll make everyone much more at peace. So tell me, Jackal, are you sure you don't want to drink?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, Rowan?
I'll make it.
All right. Thank you,
All right.
my lady.
But it was awful, just terrible. One screw out of place, and suddenly I'm on the floor. I'm sorry, I can't talk about it much. Just the nightmares keep coming back.
I'm sorry, go back just a bit. You said one screw out of place. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, you know we... No, please, go on. You can speak for me.
They let a screw drop in a rather unfortunate place, and it got into the machinery.
Oh, I see.
If you've seen the minor commotion yesterday on the floor that Ms. Lamb had to decommission one of the lines, that would have been the problem there. But it honestly,
Yes,
it
I
wasn't
heard
anything that anyone couldn't have done. It was, just flick something out of the way, and it's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Catches the gears.
I heard about that. You know, there was a report from what was that foreman who came up here with his paperwork. Mr. Stone. He came up and delivered a report. And you know, I'm not really one for reading reports, but sometimes I have to. Sometimes it's part of, you know, my duties here. And according to that report, it was a little bit more than just a screw out of place. She like just kind of like puts her chin on her fist and looks at Jackal.
Did I say screw? I meant screw up.
Of course you did. I'm sure you wouldn't call Mr. Stone a liar, right, Jackal?
No, I would never.
No, of course not. Well, either way, and she like gestures vaguely at Jackal. This awful business that they did to you, I don't think that was the proper response. It feels a little over the top, which I'm sure you would agree. Of course you do. Look at you. But... It's funny. I'll speak with Mr. Stone and the other foreman. And we'll make sure that physical retribution for an honest mistake is not the punishment they immediately jump to in the future. They, you know, of course, I think I would rather they didn't use it at all, but sometimes when there are frequent infractions, then harsher punishments must be dealt out. It's a very unfortunate part of the reality we all live in. So I trust you won't make any future infractions.
As long as I'm dead.
Perfect. Rowan, did you have anything to add? You're awfully quiet.
I know it's strange, isn't it? No, really, a lot of what I came up here for was just to see if there was an easier way to stop things like this happening. You know how I am. I just want people to be in a better space. I don't want the workers down there being mistreated. I don't want
Of course, I can
ridiculousness.
sympathize with wanting better conditions for your fellow workers, Rowan. You know I do. You know I wish that nothing terrible ever had to happen, but the way you want to go about it is just very distasteful. But perhaps we can reach some sort of agreement if you're willing to compromise a bit.
I mean, I'm hardly one to say what's a compromise at this point. I'm just one person, but
it is something you're willing to, what's the word? Engage with?
I mean, I can only speak
Entertain?
for myself, my lady, but I'd certainly be willing to listen to whatever you had to say.
I think she looks at you for a moment, and looks back at Jackal, and then sighs and takes a drink from her goblet and says, talking would be much more preferable than continuing the way we have been. And I think that would be beneficial for the both of us in multiple ways. So why don't we plan to speak again in a few days? Why don't you, this will be fun, why don't you come up with a list of things that you want to see, and then we can talk about them, and we can see what needs to be stricken completely, what needs to be modified, and we'll go from there.
I'm certainly happy to think up some ideas. Not the first time I've been on the front lines of something larger, so
Great. Well, if the two of you didn't have anything else, I hope you both have a wonderful day. And remember what I said about continued infractions, Jackal?
Of course, ma'am.
I trust you'll be a lot more cautious going forward.
Oh,
And they
one
just
quick
nod.
question, my lady.
Yes.
This is odd, but I dropped something last night and I fear it might have gotten swept up in the trash. You wouldn't happen to know when that got taken out, would you?
Huh.
Mm.
Huh. Huh.
Hmm.
Huh. That's a good
Hmm.
question. Now I gotta think of how the queen would respond to that. I think a very an overly sweet smile just creeps across her face, and she says, well, you know that the removal of trash and garbage is something that isn't really in my purview, Rowan.
Oh, of course.
I have much more important things to worry about. That said, to my understanding, you all generate quite a bit of garbage, and so it is taken out with alarming frequency, according to, again, one of the reports that I glazed over the other day. So who could say for sure when it was removed?
All right.
But I'm so sorry that you lost something important to you.
Too common an occurrence down here, I think. But thank you anyways, my lady. I will look for you again in a few days.
I will see you then.
And they'll just sort of slide their arm under Jackal's shoulders and help them out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Fantastic. Oh boy.
Do either of you think that you generated a die during that?
I do.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah, I think I subverted a problem instead of facing it head on.
And
Myself a die.
I
Was
am
that
fairly certain I acted in a way that would impact others without asking permission.
You sure did. Do you think those actions for both of you, were they community-based or selfish?
Ooh. I'll say selfish because it did save their skin in particular.
Okay, so you'll get an alienation die then. And Rowan?
I think for me, that was more. I'm trying to find the line between like directed towards this community we have here and directed towards their end goal, which is community.
I think
I think
either
it was
of those is
probably
based in the community.
okay. So I
Yeah.
will add that on.
Because if either of those, it's just at that point, it's just a different collective you're doing it for. And while there certainly is a distinction there, I think mechanics wise, there isn't.
Fair enough.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Add it in.
Yeah. Cool. Who wants to frame the next scene?
Is the next scene going to be you and Clotho, or is it going to be what we were planning to do?
It can be Lorna and Clotho.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. Who wants to play a fate?
I'll do it.
Okay. Cool. So I think
I'll open the scene then, because I could set it up as whatever she's doing, and then you appear.
yeah, absolutely.
So usually she's seen with the other two fates, and she does get some time to herself, but you never really get time to herself. So I think Clotho today would be just kind of like outside of where she normally is, like a little bit. Like if there's a lake in Hadestown, she's probably walking along that, thinking about, fate.
Just thinking about fate. Yeah. I really like the image of yes, there being a lake in the underworld, and B, being by that lake gives you the best view of Elysium off in the distance, because that's one of our hindrances. So I really like that picture, and I really like the picture of while Jackal and Rowan are meeting with the queen in that weird office throne room, Lorna is coming up on this lake to meet Clotho and just like stops for a moment as Elysium catches her eye. And she just stares at that for a moment and is just filled with a very uncomfortable sense of longing for something she knows she's never going to actually experience, or at least the way things are going, she certainly won't. And then I think she just kind of takes a deep breath and will start walking towards the fate, and she'll clear her throat and say, Miss Clotho.
You're back so soon.
Yeah, I appreciate what you did for me the other day. Um, it's been nice having somewhere to just be able to get away from everything, even just for a little bit. I what
You're
did you?
back again. Mid-year.
Yeah, yes. I wanted to ask you, did you tell anyone else about it?
What I know and what I told you, other people do know it exists. I didn't tell them you would be there. I gave you a safe space. Now, whether my other, my other fates have meddled in that, it's to be seen, but others do know the space exists.
Do you know if they've meddled, or is this one of those things where I don't get to find out until it's the right time? She like does air quotes with her hands.
Well, I think if anybody is deciding fates of what you needed, I'm the one who gave you this space. If anybody is going to cut it off, you might have an idea who would do that if they wanted to. How do I put this? I think that if anyone was to mess with you, I'm not saying that it is one of my other fates. Me and you, we have a connection. I think they're a little jealous. Not many people can speak to us so freely.
Right.
And
No,
I think, and she kind of looks around. If anyone were to determine any sort of ending, you might go towards one of my others. Or maybe it's another ear just laying low enough to hear what we have been up to.
I
But
think Lorna like looks around her at that, just out of reflex.
you can never assume to be alone here. You can never assume that somebody hasn't been looking at what you've been doing. I don't know what you are up to. You asked for a safe space. So I'm going to spin things to keep you happy as long as, you keep coming to me. But I cannot determine if somebody is going to ruin what I have given you as a gift, or if there's more to it. And she looks off into Elysium.
I think Lorna follows her gaze and just says very quietly, so it's really just a roll of the dice then, huh?
Yeah. And some, I'll say, are a little bit more inflexible than others. Might not like what I'm doing. But again, got to keep your head low, and you don't know who is watching. I gave you what I could, but I did not meddle any further. I can promise you that.
You don't know who you can trust either.
Nope. You can't even trust me. Trusting me would not be smart because who else can you trust except yourself?
I think she nods and takes another deep breath and says, would one of the others even be willing to talk to me the way you do? Or is that...
If there was anyone, I think Duchess would probably be your next best bet. I would not go to Atropos. She is.
She just starts shaking her head. No,
She
that's...
would not treat you as kindly. So pick your poison, my dear, if you want to go and talk to another one of us. Again, not many people like to. They don't like the truths we spin. They don't like the power we have, but you're not afraid, and I appreciate that.
No, I'm not. Is this... This isn't a game, right? But our connection, this isn't... You're not just trying to use it for more fate stuff, right?
Your fate is already in my hands, as is everybody else's.
I think Lorna thinks silently to herself, that wasn't really an answer. But
She's
then
not going to give you an answer.
She says out loud, okay.
She's not going to give you an answer because
Yeah.
I don't think that she would.
No, it's very fate. It's very fate like. Thanks for talking with me. I'm gonna go now. I don't like to be here for very long.
Enjoy the view for a little bit and then head back.
Okay.
And she just kind of looks off in the distance. She acknowledges that Lorna's there, but trying to teach her, look at the good things in life right now. This is a good thing to look forward to, but I'm not going to tell you anything about your fate.
Yeah. I think Lorna looks back at Elysium for maybe all of 5 seconds before she just turns around and starts walking quickly away. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Love to be talked in circles around by the fates.
What they do.
It is what they be doing. Let's see. Favor pragmatism over idealism. Add dice when you question the methods of those around you. She was definitely questioning the methods of the fates. And I do think it was for her own reasons, probably. Because she wanted to make sure she wasn't being toyed with again. She didn't really get an answer to that, but I still think it's going to be another die on her alienation track.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, which brings me up to 4. Lorna's just going to bring this whole revolution crumbling down.
You never know.
Yeah, it could go better next time. We have a lot of community dice. Hopefully last time was just a fluke. Who would like to frame the next scene? I think we have is it Elliot Rook and Jackal left?
Didn't I
Rowan?
frame last scene?
Yeah, I framed the last scene.
Yeah,
Jackal framed the last scene?
Jackal
Okay.
framed ours.
Okay.
It's me
I couldn't
that has
remember
to
if it was
go.
Rowan or Jackal.
Yeah.
So Rowan
and I
and
can
Rook.
frame this
Yeah.
round. I think from here, the next big step is just trying to put all the pieces together. So it would be likely meeting up again. And I don't think we have anywhere to do that now still other than the space that Clotho gave us.
Mhm.
So one more round there at least. Probably later that day after our meeting, so that we have our information. You've got yours. And by now, Rowan's somewhat calmed down from the knife's edge that he put himself on during that meeting. Jackal, I assume, has washed off the extra
Yeah, they're
flair that they put on for it.
hmm
I'm definitely just sitting there toying with the edge of my sweatshirt, thinking, while waiting for everyone to sort of gather in.
I think Lorna is pretty quick to get there. I
Right.
think when she got out of the physical view of the fate, at least, although probably not the metaphysical view, I think she just started sprinting back towards the spot.
Brooke's already been in there. Just there's nowhere else that's safer at this point. If somebody comes in, oh no, but safer than being out in the open.
hmm
Yeah, absolutely.
Anya climbs down and it's just like her eyes keep just like a little heartbrokenly looking towards where the pile of equipment used to be. Just like neutral expression, but you just kept like her eyes darting over there.
Or Anya.
Hey. At least this piece is of metal and not you or one of us.
Sure.
Chin up at least.
Could be a pile of me.
It could have been. You're right. She looks sadder.
Yeah, you'd probably leave a body. I don't know about the rest of us. You know, let's not think about that. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we've got connection, at least. I may have managed to get another meeting with her later in the week.
Oh,
Okay.
that's good, right?
so.
Unexpected, but what are you gonna do?
Did she seem suspicious at all, or?
Hard to tell. It's always hard to tell. She was not. She's not open, as certainly not as much as you'd expect from someone whose placement in the world controls the entirety of the seasons, She read the report about what happened to the machine, which was surprising. She doesn't
So
usually
she at
bother.
least knows about it.
Okay.
Yep.
She doesn't know when the dumpster might have been dealt with. That was a shot in the dark. And it's hard to tell whether she was telling the truth or not, even. So
Yeah, I was about to say that part was definitely a little coy. So maybe she does, maybe she doesn't, but she does know it's gone. Whatever we lost, misplaced.
As far as you know, she doesn't know I'm around.
Yeah, we didn't say anything about you because we're smart.
I figured as much, but if I've already been seen with y'all, you never know. then again, I think the big man would probably he'd probably know by proxy of her, if anything, and then we'd see a sight.
Yeah, we should try to avoid that happening. I don't think my friend mentioned anything to anyone for what it's worth. So at least they should still be okay to talk to. That doesn't mean someone didn't find out somehow, but it at least wasn't a betrayal from that direction, at least.
That's good.
So what you're saying, we can just start over. A little bit smarter, at least.
But we can't put anything down here.
You probably
Can't
shouldn't
keep
keep things
anything
down
down
here,
here.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
then
we
where
should-
do we keep it?
Depends on how big it is.
And
This doesn't have to be.
It'd be somewhere in plain sight that people aren't going to overlook.
What if we disguise it as something being built for the factory?
That's a great idea.
it's a terrible idea.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Anya.
I mean, I
course,
could
you're the
make it and
patron.
it would be very good, but it's not a good idea to do. I mean, because
But
then
why?
because it goes missing, then all of the foremen come at me. Anya, where's the thing that you were making to make the factory better? And I say, I don't know. Some blue-haired hooligan ran off into the night with it.
I'm offended, but I'm an easy target. I understand. To an extent.
It was not meant as offense. It was just a descriptor.
Sure, blame the one with the blue hair. Just kidding.
I mean,
Of course, you have blue
If we
hair
got it
and
finished-
pronouns.
I wasn't gonna do it again.
Of
Of course, you're
I
gonna have
mean-
blue hair and pronouns.
course, you have blue hair and
do.
pronouns.
I mean, at the end of the day, if it got finished, it would be your fault. It disappeared.
And you've been gone. So it's not a bad idea.
We would need something
it's-
to cover it up if it went missing. And also, like, I would need to figure out how to explain the purpose of it.
Well, if it's to get me out faster, you could use it as an excuse to get parts moved faster from point A to point B.
We are notably lacking public transportation.
We are.
Yeah.
Mm,
You are. Sorry. I've been down here for a day and it feels like I've been down here for 10 years.
That'll happen.
Yeah. Okay, so something to increase efficiency of the transport of parts. They'd probably buy that. They'd probably like that.
yeah, they would like that. Maybe you get permission for me to make this from the Queen, Rowan.
I think that could be workable. Have to figure out.
You can go up with her. I mean, them. Sorry. I getting. I.
You
no,
could,
yeah.
but I don't think it's a good idea to draw attention to you as someone who is allied with me, given how integral you can be to the factory running. So I'm going to go with maybe not on that one. You can at least explain it to me, though.
Can do that. But if you go up and you don't have a plan, you won't get very far getting permission. I can go.
I could go with them. I understand a little bit from what you've taught me. You could give me the rundown. I'd be able to remember it.
And there you go.
And that way you don't get put on the Queen's radar as someone with Rowan. I haven't been here for very long. She probably doesn't even really remember me from when I first got here. But even if she does, it doesn't really matter because I'm not as notable, like they said, as you are. So that'll be safer.
Okay.
And
This
with
can
you
work.
being new, you can make an observation and it would be like your suggestion since you're so new and you're not broken in yet.
Yeah.
I like it.
The newbie with the loud one. That's gonna be a time. All right. We'll see whether they take to that. I think that can be done. Do
Okay.
we want to start moving forward in the meanwhile anyway?
I can start mapping something out.
Okay. And I can help so I have an idea before it's time.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. Beyond that, I mean, we certainly didn't find out anything about someone else being around here, but honestly, I don't know how to ask.
Yeah, it's kind of strange to go up and say, hey, Your Majesty, did you steal the parts that we stole from your husband's factory? So you did your best.
I mean, we didn't ask that per se. We just said something got lost and we were wondering about the trash cycle.
All right.
So, move on forward.
Moving forward.
Cool. I think we can fade that scene out there. Does anyone think they generated a die? Yeah,
I don't
think
think
I did
so.
either. Does anyone think a die shifted because of a change in relationships?
I think, personally, actually, watching Lorna step up like that. Watching Lorna step up like that, restored a little bit of Rowan's faith almost in what they're doing.
Okay.
Like, because she's definitely been the one that's most held back and worried about a lot of this.
Mhm.
And so having her like put herself in finally like gave Rowan a push. So I am going to move my current alienation die to the community pool.
Okay. Great. I love that. Cool. So that just leaves one more person to frame the scene. Who just framed that one? It was Rowan? Right. Okay, so then it's Rook who's left over.
I framed the scene with the fates unless Rook has to frame a scene themselves. Because
You kicked off the scene. That was Zoe's
that was
okay, that was
scene, huh?
Zoe's.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Sorry.
All right. I'm sorry. I wasn't sure mechanic.
That's okay.
Yeah. I think in that time, with everybody just like discussing everything, I think Rook would probably kind of want to head back to that bar again because they've been pretty much just trapped underneath. And we can also try to get a scope out too if there's any other chatter that others are talking about within, even though people are pretty quiet there otherwise. So I think we could definitely frame the scene flipping between time of, oh, we have the plan finally of what we think we might do, and just like a little bit of downtime after that. So I don't know who wants to be in that scene. I don't
Just hanging at the bar.
Yeah, just hanging at the bar and just existing.
Okay.
And they also have the hood up. So, yeah.
I actually have an idea for a sort of downtime conversation for Lorna to have with Anya, probably as they're going over the plans. So I imagine there's one point where they're probably sitting at a table, talking about it. And I think Lorna will go really quiet for a moment, and she'll like look over to where Rook is sitting by themselves, and then look back at Anya and say, I want to make sure I remember this correctly. Lorna told Anya last time that it was the Fate she was talking to. And she kept that from everyone else, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So she'll get really quiet. She'll look at Rook. She'll look back at Anya, and she'll say in a really low voice, I need to talk about something else real quick too, while we have a quiet moment.
Okay.
When I went to talk to Clothos the other day, and she told me, I didn't tell anyone else that you wanted this space. I didn't ask questions. She gave me a bunch of reassurances like that, but she also said that we never know who might be watching, who might be listening. We never know who we can trust, and I'm starting to wonder, are we sure Rook is who they say they are? Because they just showed up, and Jackal said they know them, but what if Rook isn't here for the reason they say they are? What if Rook is here to root out dissenters and strikers and encourage people to do those things so that they can snuff them out?
This is an alarming question, I think.
And that's why our stuff went missing. I mean, that would be a reason for someone to take our stuff but not say anything to the foreman, right? If they wanted to see what we did next, to try to escalate the situation. I mean, I don't like thinking it. I don't want it to be true. I really don't want it to be true, but I can't just pretend that it's not a possibility, right?
So let's think about it for a second. You leave and go to the bar with Rook when the things go missing. You didn't know that we would be here. Did Rook signal anyone when we left? Did you notice any sort of communication with anyone outside the bus?
I wasn't really paying that kind of attention.
And would you don't know Jackal. Jackal does not typically do things for other people. Ever. For Jackal to ask for help from anyone, to a Jackal to ask for help from me, it must be Jackal must trust Rook, or at least like them.
Mhm.
Which makes me think I can trust them also, or at the very least, like them. Although she like gives a very suspicious look to Rook. You're muted.
Thank you. Rook's just like swirling the drink around, listening to the sound of the water, like, huh, that's a cool song.
Yeah,
They're not listening to anything you say, by the way.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
just in their own zone.
I think they are. Rook seems, simple. They're like the simple pleasures in life, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you do not have to trust them, but we are in a bit deep
It's not
to be
that.
backing out now.
It's not that I don't.
Go ahead.
It's not that I don't want to trust them. I do want to trust them.
And that is what scares you.
I think she frowns at that. What do you mean?
Lorna, you do not want to trust anyone. That's why we get along.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And it's scary sometimes to trust someone. Especially when you want to maybe hold their hands in a bar and maybe want to tell your friend Anya about what was happening. But you don't have to. And I'm not going to pry. I'm not nosy. And then Anya's very nosy.
I think Lorna was like probably like playing with her own hands kind of nervously as she was saying all of this, and then just like very quickly like set her hands on the table.
Oh. Look, if you notice anything, really notice something suspicious, something communicating with the foreman, or any of these things, then tell me, tell someone, do something. But until you have proof, I think maybe you are mistrusting your urge to trust rather than mistrusting Rook.
Okay. So I will keep an eye on them to make sure that they're not doing anything suspicious.
And also maybe because you like to look at them. I don't know. And then Anya goes back to like whatever blueprint.
Lorna frowns again. I think like she had started to like look over at Rook and then very quickly stops and like hurts her neck a little bit, and she like turns back around.
I think one of those times Rook's gonna catch Lorna's gaze and like raise an eyebrow when she quickly looks away and walks over to their table. You could just wave to me if you want my attention. It's fine. And they sit down.
Oh no, sorry. I wasn't trying to get your attention. I was just looking at you.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I do that to you sometimes too. You're pretty.
She just blushes at that. And then looks at Anya.
Anya's like fully back in. Anya's like kind of listening to that, smiles, but is like almost like slowly going back into project mode, where you've noticed like she isn't designing a machine anymore. She's fully started designing one piece of equipment and is shifted into, okay, we're going to build a locomotive, and then that part of that will be the thing. And then it's sort of shifted into like, okay, we need different engines, and it's become like a whole project much bigger than the initial like we need a quick way out of here, it's quickly become like a full public transit thing. And she keeps, anytime you ask about it, she's like, it's just to present to the queen. It is not, we do not have to do this. It is just so it adds an air of legitimacy to what we're doing. But then she gets very into it.
Concentration mode with Anya, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense.
Rook, are you being distracting?
To you
She's
or
like-
to Lorna?
To Lorna, you can't distract me.
I don't know. Ask Lorna.
Yeah, she doesn't want to answer that. And I go back.
I think Lorna looks over at Rook and says, do you want to take a walk and leave Anya to work on her project?
Yeah, no, we're probably bugging her anyway.
Yeah, okay. We should, yeah. And like Lorna very
Anya nods
awkwardly
when you
gets sort of
say
the-
that you're probably bugging her.
Makes sense.
And then Lorna will start walking probably out of the bar with Rook, assuming they follow her.
Yeah.
And I think we don't have to go super into it because I also want to see if Jackal and Rowan have anything they want to do during this moment of downtime. But I think Lorna, just to peek into Lorna's mind, Lorna both A, does want to walk with Rook, but does also B, watching them as like whenever, at any moment where someone else passes by for a moment, even though they're trying to stay away from people, but like as they move away from someone, Lorna is like watching Rook to see if they are doing any sort of like secret communication to them, like Anya suggested.
No, Rook honestly is just observing the surroundings, and while it's horrific, they're still very like, that's kind of pretty though. Like they're not saying it, but they're kind of like looking all around, kind of like a puppy. So no, they're not communicating with anyone. They're taking more of a depth of a look around.
Yeah, to be clear, I know that Rook isn't a secret spy.
Oh no, I know that, but I'm framing it so like
Yeah.
Lorna's looking like, are they up to something? And Rook's like, and they catch their gaze and they just keep looking around. And so they're it's like, is this one suspicious? This one is totally not suspicious.
Cool. Cute. I love that. Did Jackal and Rowan, or also Anya, also Rook, I mean, does anyone have anything else they want to do during this downtime moment?
I think Jackal's actually taking the time to rest up after everything. Like, it's been snowballing bit after bit after bit, and now they're finally just like in their cot or whatever soft thing they have that's supposed to be a bed to decompress.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think Rowan's mostly just trying to sketch out an actual like list of things that he's talked about with workers before.
Mhm.
Like they may not like be primarily using this meeting for like actual change, but this is a step that they never really thought they'd get to. So they're doing their best.
Cool. Cool. In that case, if no one has anything else they want to do with this scene, we can go through the die generation questions and then roll for our outcome. So Lorna was definitely questioning the motives of people in that scene. The thing for me is part of it was for the whole, because she is worried that someone is trying to sabotage them, but there's also a very selfish reason for questioning because she likes Rook. So it's kind of both. Uh,
That's a tough one.
yeah. I think I'm going to put it in the community dice because I think the concern for everyone was stronger in that moment.
I felt like that was.
Yeah. I think it's close, but I think that one does eke out. So I'm going to add another one to the community dice there. Does anyone else think they generated a die during that scene? Okay. Does anyone else think does anyone think that a die has shifted because of a changed or grown relationship?
I'm gonna leave that to you. I don't know
Yeah.
necessarily if Anya has a die shift. I don't know that like Anya necessarily just played more vulnerability, but if you feel their relationship shifted one way or another in that scene.
I think that there was a shift on Lorna's end, at least. But
Okay.
I think between Anya and Rook, there was enough of a shift that I think I could move an alienation dice into community.
Okay.
All right. So Anya, you said you don't think you could shift one. Rook, you don't even have alienation dice.
I haven't made any bargains.
Yeah, we gotta make you some bargains.
We
during the
really
next goal.
do.
Gotta get you some bargains. Cool. In that case, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 community dice. So I'm going to roll those, and then we'll roll the alienation dice, and we'll compare the numbers. Okay. Jackal and Anya, did either of you roll a 6? Well, I have really good news then. I rolled 1 6 on my alienation dice, but the community dice, we have 2 6s.
Hey, let's go.
Oh,
So we have finally had a community success.
oh, thank God.
I'm so proud of us.
The odds were even more in our favor then, and yet it was still very, very, very close.
It's
It was
close.
like the end of last game.
Cool. So for a community success, decide as a group, how was this challenge undoubtedly a success? How is there still more work for us to do?
Can we then say confirmed queen, like we know for a fact the queen did it?
Yeah,
Ooh.
I think so. I out of game, I was trying to keep it in that like she could have, or she could just be this way. So it could go either way depending on the outcome of the roll, because it felt more something that should be decided by the dice and less by the narrative, especially that early on. But totally, I think we can say for this the next meeting, as Rowan and Lorna go to meet with the queen, I think that there are there's more in the way the queen talks to them that indicates that she is behind those parts disappearing. And whether it's she's more confident that they don't suspect her because they've come back to her, or if it's like one of the fates whispering in Lorna's mind as they talk to her, because now Lorna's here too, or maybe it's a combination of both. either way, I think you're right. I think it is. We absolutely know the queen is the one who was behind that disappearance.
Also, out of character when I was doing Clotho, honestly, I was trying to basically aim that if anyone was to be fucking with anyone within the fates, it was probably going to be Atropos. She was trying to heavily hint that without saying it because you don't know who has ears. The last thing you want to do is upset your sisters.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
But what were the questions again?
Yeah, sorry. So how is this challenge undoubtedly a success? The next question, how is there still more work for us to do? Which I think is probably the obvious answer, and this thing still needs to be built. I think, and anyone can correct me or add to what I'm about to say, but I think the big picture here ends up being what Lorna and Rowan present to the queen, Anya's design, is something that is good for the factory, that is appealing to the queen and her husband and the owners, the bosses, etc., etc. So much so that they are going to approve the building of it, but the group is aware that the queen knew that they were up to something still, which means that even though the queen is approving it, she probably has something else, or at least that could be the natural conclusion that they draw, is that they need to be very, very, very careful with this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. And then other than that, we remove any dice that rolled a 1 from the pool, which is just for the community dice, which one of them was a 1. So that one will get removed, but that still leaves us with 11 community dice.
Good.
Yeah.
Does anything happen to alienation dice if it's a success, or they just...
Nope, alienation dice stay the same.
Cool.
Let me just double check. Yep, it's just community dice. We lose those if there are any 1s. Alienation dice remain the same for now. Cool. And with that goal a success, I think now is a good time for a break. So we're going to take a short bio break, get a drink, do what you got to do, stretch your legs, and we'll be back in just a moment. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Riot Starts, Hadestown-based TTRPG by Riley Rethal. Let's get right into it with our next goal. We talked a little bit very briefly during the break about our next goal being getting Rook some kind of cover story so they can operate not cloaked in the shadows all the time. How do we feel about that? Do we like that? Do we have different perspective on it?
Is this happening before our meeting? Like before you guys would meet? Or is that also going to happen? I like the idea either way. I just want to...
I think after.
Timeline wise.
Maybe.
After
Not
the
like
meeting with the
immediately
queen?
open up with that.
So are we going to...
That's something to work on, like progressively. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
like we start working on that, and the meeting with the queen happens, somewhere in the finalized middle of it.
I like that. I think just tossing Rook into the fire immediately is a bit much.
Yeah.
Progressive fire, please. One coal at a time.
Okay. Cool. And Anya, did you want to frame that scene first, or? No.
No, I
Okay.
have a scene I want to frame, but I want to keep it
Yeah.
in my back pocket for a minute.
Okay. So does anyone else have an idea for a scene they want to frame around that?
Well, we're on a walk, right?
It's where we ended, but again,
Where we ended.
we can pick up there, or we can do a small time skip.
We could
Yeah.
probably do a small time skip, probably, because the queen did say meet with us in a few days.
Right.
Okay, I'm establishing that because I'm trying
Well,
to. frame-
sorry. The meeting was part of the resolution of the dice roll. Was that second part of the meeting?
Yeah.
Remember that? So the meeting. Sorry, the meeting happened.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right,
Sorry,
all
I
right.
was confused by what you meant by the meeting.
No,
before.
no.
You didn't want to play Lorna and the Queen at the same time?
No.
What?
No, that sounds
Wow.
We
terrible.
could have had that. It's Patreon
Dang.
only. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, subscribe to the Patreon if you want to see me role play with myself. It's all right. Did you have a different idea for the framing of the scene? If not, I do have an idea.
I not roll with your idea. I'll
Okay.
probably come up with a better one in the future if we're trying to
no
get
worries.
me caught.
So I think Lorna has asked Jackal to meet her in the secret room. And by ask them to meet her there, I mean she said, come with me to the secret room because I know it's open right now and I need to talk to you in private.
All right then. The secret room.
And once they get there, Lorna checks the fiber wire again to make sure no one has been in here again. And I think it's safe. But she does also like spend a few minutes just looking around, making sure that no one is like hiding in a shadow or is like creeping behind them to surprise them or eavesdrop on them. And after a few moments, she turns to look at Jackal and says, so I had an idea. And I don't really, I don't really know how to go about doing this, but I thought you might. And I thought you might want to help with it.
Go on.
So, Rook, we can't keep hiding them the way we have been. It's not, eventually they're going to get caught. And then everything is going to be probably for nothing or something even worse. So I was thinking we could try to get them some kind of cover, like an actual disguise, like not just throwing a cloak over them and making them hide in the shadows, like something identifying them as someone who's supposed to be here so that they can walk out in the open, and they can do things more to help us and to just exist in general. But I don't really know how to do that sort of thing, or at least I've never done it really. But I thought you might know something.
I mean, that just sounds like a work order. We can just get him more clothes. I can say, oh, I got blood on my favorite coveralls or whatever. Can I get a new pair or something like that?
Sure.
That'll work.
Sure, clothes. But I was also thinking like like paperwork in case they get stopped for something. That way there isn't any room for suspicion or any room for or any need for us to worry about it. Sorry,
Sounds like
I think she actually said, let me just rewind a little bit. So there isn't any reason for me to, I mean, for us to worry about it.
yeah. Sure. I guess we can wrangle that up too. Honestly, I don't see there's no reason for them to do all that. They can just stay in a nice dark corner. They can stay in here. Well, we don't know who the fuck is coming in here. It just
Yeah,
seems
we
like a
don't-
lot of work for somebody we're trying to kick out.
But we don't know how long that's going to take, right?
Unfortunately. But you got a great cover. If we're going to do all that shit, we might as well start now. On top of parts and shit.
Okay. I can talk to Anya and Rowan to let them know we're working on this, see if they have any ideas. I
Cool.
just thought I'd start with you because I know Anya's busy, and Rowan's busy. I mean, we're all busy, but you know they're busy with the worker stuff and the machine.
Yeah,
and
you're
every-
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Would you rather be in charge of clothes or would you rather be in charge of paperwork?
I think Lorna thinks for a moment and says, I think you know what, actually, I think I might be able to be in charge of paperwork. I think I can
Oh.
talk to my friend and see if they can do something about that.
Okay, then got clothes covered.
Okay.
All right. And they're already like stepping out of the hiding place.
Thank you.
Don't mention it. Really, don't mention it.
And then after Jackal leaves, Lorna's gonna look around again
Mhm.
to triple, quadruple, quintuple check that no one was in there, and then she's going to leave as well.
Cool.
Cool. I don't think I generated a die during that scene. I think Lorna was very
They were both surprisingly straightforward.
yeah.
They
It
were
was
able
very
to be
much
vulnerable with each other.
yeah.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow. Well, I'll be.
Golly.
Golly gee willikers.
I think it helps for Lorna that she was also very distrustful not too long ago, and I think that was yeah, it was nice. I do think there could be an argument for a change in relationship though, because it's really the first time Lorna and Jackal really just talked by themselves.
Yeah.
So I think I could, at least for me, I feel comfortable moving an alienation die back into the community pool,
Big ditto.
getting a little more trusting. But yeah,
Right.
yeah, because she showed a lot of trust in Jackal by bringing up that idea with them.
So you're gonna add both die, just so there's no confusion.
What's that?
Oh, I just took one off my tally, and then you can put both on the thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Added yours on there too.
Thank you.
Cool. Who would like
Hooray.
to frame the next scene for that? I think we don't have to, for the ease of things, if people want to frame scenes around being told about this plan, that can just have happened. I don't think that needs to be a whole scene. I think it could be inferred that Lorna gets around to mentioning to Anya and Rowan and Rook at some point, unless you want to have a specific scene around getting that information, which is also valid.
Yeah. We know what's up. I think it's easier to just that over than do a whole scene about it.
Agreed.
Yeah, perfect. So in that case, who wants to frame the next scene?
So we have of course, getting the clothes, getting the papers. Is anybody like in particular going for parts
I think
or
Anya
helping
just
Anya out?
has them on, yeah, like on the order, or like
Okay.
on the fact that construction has been approved. Like she
Mhm.
just has them.
Okay.
Mhm.
Does she need help building?
She could take extra hands, yeah.
Okay, so that's another potential.
Where are you building?
Probably outside of, like, back behind one of the busier like factories, because I think what was sold to the queen was the idea of like moving equipment from building to building.
Oh yeah.
So
That
just
makes-
like the back port. So I think she's like around back, just getting stuff together.
I'm trying to think where Rook is in all of this, because again, they're still in the midst of trying not to be seen. So that's
I was gonna say, is it for you, is it Lorna and Jackal, do you want the scenes of you guys getting this stuff to play out, or do you just want that to happen off screen?
They could be scenes. That could be a scene Jackal frames of getting the clothes. If Rook is struggling with a way to frame a scene because of their situation, they could frame a scene of going with Lorna to meet with Clotho. Would she take them to Clotho?
I think
They could frame a scene around getting the paperwork if we want to just say that happens because Clotho is an ally.
Yeah.
And then how well it stands up will depend on the dice roll at that point. But that could be a scene.
And they can possibly use the paperwork to get the clothes anyway, instead of using it with geese. So
Also true.
So then, to just be clarifying, the scene would be you going to Clotho for the paperwork we're doing.
The scene that I could see Rook framing is them meeting with Lorna and
Okay, yeah.
Lorna giving them the paperwork. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Which other people could be present at too if you wanted them to be.
Yeah. Anyone's welcome to do that. Yeah. So time has definitely passed, and they're back in the secret base area.
Mhm.
Essentially, they're just kind of bored at this point, and just like anxious in a good way to get the paperwork, because they don't know how it's going to go, but they're kind of getting sick of not being able to help because they want to help.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just sitting on the floor and just kind of like daydreaming a little bit, just waiting for Lorna to get back.
Sure. And I think after a few moments, you hear the door open and you hear footsteps coming down as the door shuts, and Lorna comes down the steps looking actually like genuinely smiling. Hey,
That's a good look on you.
yeah, it worked. I got papers for you.
What do they have a fake name? Do they like?
Yeah, and Lorna will hand them over, and let me Just pull up a random name generator real quick.
Love it.
uh uh yeah, that's a good name. Jamie Perkins.
Jamie Perkins. let me
Jamie
just-
Perkins.
No. Okay. So I have record of that now on my end. Huh. Jamie. It's pretty close to my not stage name. That's funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Funny enough, like they kind of blush, kind of look at her like, yeah, Rook is a stage name. But it's been a thing for a while, so everybody knows. Nobody calls me James or Jim or whatever. I don't understand why Jim has such a different name for everyone, like for everything. Like you can get 5 names out of the name James. So it's weird.
I think Lorna like laughs at that kind of awkwardly and kind of just like she wasn't expecting that to be revealed to her. And she says, well, I appreciate you telling me that. That feels like something you don't tell a lot of people.
No, only Jackal knows, but Jackal knows because we went to school. So
Right.
it's just, irony that came up. And I'll respond to Jamie quite easily then. So yeah.
Yeah, that actually, and I think Lorna thinks for a moment and she says, that's actually not too surprising now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking out loud. It's a bad habit that I shouldn't do. But we can use that paperwork to get you clothes. Jackal was gonna try to steal some clothes, but with that, you might just be able to get them yourself. So Jackal doesn't have to get themselves hurt again.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
All things considered, from what you said, well, from the others, that Jackal shouldn't get in any more trouble.
Right, because of what the queen told them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very, very, very sure that she knows. We have to be very careful. But now you can help, right?
Oh, good. Like, full secret base and all, but there's only so much you can do. Like, I entertain myself very easily, but like, I'm glad to be able to stretch my legs more.
It is nice to come in here sometimes and hear you playing music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one do you like most?
And she'll like think for a second and describe one of like the quieter, like more melodic songs that they've probably been playing at some point. Something that has like more of a melancholic tone to it.
That's funny.
Why?
That's a song I wrote about you.
Just a full blush, just a full face blush. And she says, I didn't know you wrote a song about me. Are there Can you
More?
play it? Can you play it?
Yeah. And they start playing the tune, and as though it's like it is sad and melancholic, but it's beautiful. Like there's not much to it that is like striking, but it's so simple, but sad. But it means a lot to Rook about Lorna because they had that moment in the bar when you can tell that like Lorna was doubting themselves a little, and I just wanted to see Lorna happy. So they wrote it sad, but they wrote it peaceful at the same time because they know even the sad souls can use some peace. And it's kind of like a song of hope for while thinking about them and thinking about her.
I think Lorna, like as she's listening to it, she like kind of closes her eyes, just taking the music in, and I think she starts to like sway a little bit, not really dancing to it, but like gently moving to it.
And Rook just smiles. Haven't had an audience in a while.
And then Lorna will open her eyes as it comes to an end and say, I really like listening to you play. It's
I'm glad.
nice. I really didn't think that there was going to be anything nice in my existence again, at least not something that I could touch. I mean, there's not, I don't mean, and she blushes again. She says, I mean something like actually real, like within because like, there, and she'll like just start rambling because like, there's the lake. I don't know if you've been to the lake, but if you go to the lake, you can see Elysium, and like that is very pretty and very nice, but you can't touch it. You're never actually going to get there. We're never actually going to get to go to Elysium, but your music is actually here.
Touching, but not like on a physical level.
Right.
Yeah. I try to make music like that because I know not everybody has a place like that. So yeah, that's good to hear that it translates to at least you. Jackal just tells me to shut up, even though I know I know they like it. But thanks for the honesty.
Yeah.
And they go and grab her hand and squeeze it a little. Seriously, thanks.
I think Lorna pulls them in for like a hug. It's like a very brief hug.
As you're pulling in for a hug, they pulling back, they kiss your cheek.
Aww.
It's gonna be fine. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, we got the paperwork.
Yeah.
Good. And let's see what Jackal procured.
And with that, I think Lorna starts leading the way out of the secret room.
Perfect.
Cool. I don't think Lorna generated a die in that moment.
No.
She was not questioning anyone's methods.
Character development. I think that's one of the first
Not
few
out
times
loud,
you have
anyway.
it.
Yeah, she was thrown off by the song written about her. I do think, however, the relationship shifted.
Yep.
I
don't have die to move, but you do.
I do. But I'm also wondering, is it necessarily an alienation die to a community die?
That's up to you.
Because now Lorna has very selfish reasons for wanting to help Rook. I mean, she was already starting to develop selfish reasons, but I think those might be stronger now and might end up getting her in trouble. Yeah, you know what? That's spicy. I'm gonna move a community die back to the alienation die for that. Cool.
Good. We love this.
Yeah. Who would like to frame the next scene?
I mean, that could be Jackal getting the clothes, assuming they got the paperwork.
Yeah.
Cool. Would anybody like to come with?
I'll join.
Hella. All right. So what? Cool. I had a brain fart. Excuse me.
All right.
I imagine it's like some kind of like commissary or station.
Mhm.
Now that they don't have to like steal someone's laundry or make an excuse of their own for it. We can make this straightforward. Or does anybody want to play like some kind of warden or what have you? If not, that's totally fine. Just give somebody the option.
Yeah, I don't think unless someone really wants to play one, I don't think it's necessary. I think compared to like the Queen into Clotho, a
Yeah.
warden that you have the paperwork to get the clothes. I think it's going to be a very simple exchange.
All right. And so, like you said, it's simple. They present the Perkins papers and get standard overalls, jacket, shirt, what have you. And it would be safe to just go ahead and bring them straight to Rook. I hate for you to lose your threads. Not really, but here you go, Captain, son, what have you. Just toss it in their direction.
I think they hit Rook in the face.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh. Gonna miss you, old buddy. And they are, where are we, by the way?
That is a good question. Probably in that
Basement?
like, yeah,
Where-
let's make it.
Let's
Last,
make it
like-
the basement.
Last hideout day.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Rest in peace. Boo-hoo. I hate seeing you undress.
Love it. And they
I'd
put on
say
the
get a room,
clothes.
but this is the room.
What did you say? Sorry.
I'd say get a room, but this is the room.
And with that, Jackal turns around.
You hear Anya go, shh.
No. So Rick is in the workers' clothes now.
And now we can finally throw you around.
They wink at Jackal.
Ugh. Awful. God. And there is like this faint tinge of red.
Well, doesn't look too bad. Blended now. They won't question the hair if I got paperwork, so it's fine.
It was part of the accident. Something left your hair blue.
Mm-hmm. It's I blew myself up. That's how I died.
And to that,
How do
they
you
just
not get tired of them?
Anya covers Rowan's mouth. Shh. We're not here. Continue your conversation.
No. You're right. We're wasting time with these little, whatever you call them. So, pray, clothes, paperwork. We can move a little faster.
So now what? We gotta get you out and moving. If you've got paperwork, you're gonna have to be on the line at some point.
Shit. Fuck. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is.
if
Rook can help.
I'll stay with Anya. Good cover at least.
Fair.
Perfect. I'm not complaining. Are you?
No?
Sure.
Were you asking me? Who were you asking?
Rook, that is sorry.
Okay.
You can't tell
No.
who Jackal's looking at?
No, it's like
Is nearsighted.
when I suddenly procured glasses.
Oh.
No, that's fine. That'll work. I can help Anya. I'll be like no different. I'm just a new person learning the ropes. They trust Anya, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can help. We have, things to move, things to put together. It's coming along okay. And I can show you the parts to set aside for what we're doing.
We could just, say you requested some extra help. There's a newbie. Teach them.
Yeah, I think they will buy that. They're moving people over to help every day. So
Perfect.
How
No
much longer
complaints
do you
here.
think you got, Anya?
what was that?
How much longer do you think you got?
To pull the pieces apart a few days. To actually build this thing, it will be months, but maybe years to get them all. I don't know if they will allow the project to go on that long though. So I will try not to get my hopes up.
And as long as we get the part we need to get Rook out. Or do you think that's gonna take years?
Oh no, that will not take. I mean, the whole system of trains around and then
Right.
yeah, it will be a long time.
Okay,
Like a
so
plan.
we get Rook out on the line with us. So no one
Cool.
suspects them.
Do we want to just?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we
that's
can
good.
I think we can end that there. Same questions as before. Did anyone generate a die or have a shift in relationships to change a die?
Mm,
Okay. So in that case, it's Anya and Rowan left to frame a scene.
Okay. I think there's a scene. I had two ideas, but I'm gonna go with this one. I think there's a scene where Anya is getting probably shortly after Rook and Jackal left, if they're alone in the secret basement, Rowan and Anya, where I think Rowan can see plans for a lot of stuff that's not what they're building, or that's not it's not the simple moving equipment. And I think the most notably is a fully different passenger vehicle to move. That would be actual public transit. But then she kind of puts them away very quickly.
You've got some ideas going there.
Yes, but I don't know if anything will. I don't think we will get there. There's too much of a fight.
We're already making headway.
Maybe, but this is in the interest of the factory. I know people who build these things. They will turn corrupt at any point. So they're in charge of moving things. How do we get it so they move people for reasons other than work, or move people at all? people do just fine walking now, they'll think. And they won't. They won't
Well,
do it.
If we already have the infrastructure, better to get people moved faster, I would say. Less downtime, more efficient.
Maybe. I
You have a lot
envy
of good
you a
ideas.
little bit.
You have a lot of good ideas.
I know this. Other people don't, or don't want them, or want them and then want to
Decide
do
they
something
don't.
bad with them.
Familiar with that one.
You don't carry yourself like you would understand that.
I try
I
not
don't-
to think about it.
I don't mean
I-
that in a rude way. I just mean
No, I know. I'm aware. It's not. I didn't get the way I am by listening to the people up there, you know? I'd
What?
rather.
Do you listen to yourself and this worked out for you?
Well, somewhat. It's also what got me down here.
Me as well.
That in common, at least.
That is one thing. We will keep moving forward, Rowan, and maybe, who knows, we'll find 3, even 4 things that we have in common.
I think you could be fiery.
I was.
We'll find it again.
I wish you luck. And then she'll kind of head out and go to get like Rook set up to work, building little railways and kind of go from there.
Cool. Did either of you generate a die or have a shift in relationship or both?
I'm gonna move my die. I'm no longer alienated.
Okay. Cool. Rowan?
I don't have an alienation die to move.
Okay.
I think that I also think that realistically speaking, like Rowan knew peripherally a lot of this about Anya.
Mhm.
He just didn't have specifics.
Sure.
So Anya's been someone that they've wanted to get on their side for a very long time, and that he's very much trying to make inroads.
Sure, that makes sense. Okay, so one of Anya's dice moved over to the community pool, and with that, we have one more scene to frame.
Yes. I think that the next moment happens as they're working. Rowan's been pulled to work on the tracks that day, so they set themselves up next to Rook just so that someone's got a friend, you know, better to talk. And they, you know, it's maybe halfway through the day, or at least their shift. And they look over, you know, Rook right next to them, Anya probably somewhere down the line, Lorna and Jackal somewhere. If you want to join in, feel free. And they kind of glance over at Rook and go, I wish more people remembered what it was like to be like you.
They were working with faces and stuff. I mean, at least with Lorna, I'm hoping that they look over. Is Lorna down there as well?
Yeah, I think Lorna's nearby. She's probably not right next to them in this moment, but she's close enough where she's
I
visible.
think Anya keeps pulling Lorna to do like a specific thing that someone else keeps getting wrong. Like, you can, and just
Yeah.
like doesn't explain what the problem is, just pulls her and leaves her and keeps moving.
Yeah. And Lorna's moving just like a smidge faster now than she was the first time we saw this, which at this point I think has probably been almost a week now.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Rick's working with parts and yeah, I mean, at least with Florina, they're still new enough where I've been trying to remind them of who they are, because I still see who they are, even if she doesn't. Maybe. I know, I mean, I'm not meant to be down here, but I get how everything else is. So
I think you
it
reminded
feels
her
like
that
10
she
years.
wants to remember.
Say that again?
I think you reminded her that she wants to remember.
I hope so.
It's hard to do that. It's hard to
Yeah.
want down here. Everything's work, everything's in service to the bigger cause.
Yeah. Good though that, two of you are kind of still trying to keep to that. I think Jackal keeps to that a little bit, but in their own way. They're still fighty, like I remember them. And I think that's what keeps them close to.
I don't think Jackal could be another way if they tried.
That's also true. If I came down here and they were like calm, I don't know what I'd do. I don't think I'd be bringing back the right person.
I strongly suspect that you would have gone the way of body snatchers.
Probably a
something.
little bit smoother, but yeah.
No, it's.
I don't know much about Anya though.
She's been down here a while. So she's. I wouldn't necessarily call her more lost. I think she's just more used to it. It's disappointing,
Art,
really.
though.
You can see the embers of the fire.
I think this project kind of helps a little.
I think this project is helping everyone.
It's kind
So
of funny how that works.
I don't know. I guess I wanted to say it's been good meeting you.
Good meeting you too. You're awesome. Like, holy fight, man. Like, I have never seen so much spark. Like, I do that on stage, but you're like that all the time. It's
Yeah, I tell
so
that to
cool.
the people who get exhausted.
Yeah. Oh. I like it. That's cool.
I appreciate that. It's when something brings you down here, that's the hardest thing to forget. So when you die fighting, you keep fighting.
I wouldn't expect that any other way.
I'm surprised I've lasted this long, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm very shocked that you still keep going. You don't remember exactly how long you've been here, right?
Longer than most people last, at least.
Yeah. That's cool. That's so impressive. I don't know how I would fare out. I've only been here like what? It's like a week. I don't even know.
It's hard to keep track.
Yeah. Days don't really mean much when we're panicking. We're not panicking. We're fine. This is fine.
You can see the image of like the dog with the fire around them just pass across the back of Rowan's eyes.
Yes. This is fine. Yeah. We got this ordinance to make something though, so that's a step.
Maybe once people see change happening, maybe they'll remember that it's possible.
Yeah. Anything's possible. Now, how we're gonna sneak me out, I don't know. But we got the blueprints at least.
It's a step.
So step.
Everything is steps.
And they just kind of go back to focusing on what's been being procured and made to what Anya told them.
Cool. Cool. Unless anyone else wants to do something in that moment, I think we can fade the last scene out there. Rowan and Elliot Rowan and Rook, did either of you generate a die or change a die due to a shift in relationship?
If I had a shift in die, I think I would, because I
Mhm.
think like that moment was a good like bonding moment between Rowan and Rook. If I had a die to move, I would, and move it to the community pool, but I don't.
Okay.
We'll work on that next week.
Yeah. Once we see how this goes about Rook getting their fake identity. So we have 1 alienation die for Jackal, 3 alienation dice for Lorna, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 community dice. So we will roll those dice and see how the numbers shake out. All right. Jackal, did you roll a 6?
Nope, I rolled a 2.
Okay.
Darn.
I rolled 1 6, but the community dice rolled 3 6s. So that is another full success. So, just like last time, let me pull up the sheet. Decide as a group, how was this challenge undoubtedly a success, and how is there still more work for us to do?
I mean, I think the success is that no one's questioning the papers.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
we got all of this together and it actually went smoothly for once.
Yeah. Yeah, Rook, and anyone who questions Rook at first, Rook is able to pass the inspection, and honestly, probably after the first time, they just become another face in the crowd to the foreman at least. I have an image that I like for their for the work that is still to be done. And it's a little it's playing a little abstract with that statement. But I think it's a neat image to fade this session out on too. Which is the queen standing at like a window in her office, just watching Rook silently drinking from her wine glass because she definitely knows that they're not supposed to be there, despite everything else. But she's not making any moves yet. But she knows.
I like it.
Cool. Oh, and then before we forget, remove any dice that rolled a 1 from the pool. There was only 1 die that rolled a 1 again, so we only lose 1 die from that community pool. And with that, we end our second session of the Riot Starts. So let's go around, remind everyone who you are, where they can find you, all that good stuff. Starting with Rachel, this time in reverse order.
Hi, I'm Rachel. You can follow me on the internet at Ms. Petty Dreadful. You can catch me playing games over at Tablegoth on YouTube. There's a ton of stuff. Check out our Vampire the Masquerade game, Taste of Youth. It's a teen drama Vampire the Masquerade game.
Hi guys, I'm again Vin at VinVoxVA. I'm a voice actor who does tabletop things. We skipped a Saturday, so this coming Saturday is the finale of a very fantastic Urban Shadows 2E 3-shot called Trouble in the Second City New Blood. I'm having a great time. I'm a little edgelord. You should check it out. And if you still want to see my face in more Urban Shadows content, on Mondays we have Somehow Human on Chatterbox AVA's channel, and then the 3-shot is on Stella Luna's channel.
Hey everyone, I'm Raven Kennedy. You can find me on most socials at Scott Blackbird. You can also find me deeply embedded currently in the We Are Games community and working on putting out something new very shortly. If you want to pay attention to that Twitter, at We Are Games, we're putting up little snippets of new content for a TTRPG that we've been working on for quite some time now, and is this close to having its quick start guide. I promise this time. Other than that, you can catch me here next week, and that's kind of it at the moment for streams, but we'll see where that goes in the future, because we've got a couple more things that are on the back burner.
Cool. So I guess that's me. Hi everybody, I'm Elliot. I have been playing Rook, and you can catch me on the internet at Chaos Them if you want to see the organized thing. I've actually made a schedule because I realized the month of February is oddly very busy, and I didn't mean it to happen, but I have made a schedule of where you can find me. But to let you all know, I will be here again tomorrow night playing Jim Hawkins on Kingdom Hearts Interstitial War. I'm super excited about that. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen tomorrow, because that's the last time you'll see me, at least as far as we know, depending on how the clock goes. So that's where I will be there. Outside of being here next week, I will actually be on Chaotic Tiefling ATL on Saturday the 12th, because I'm running for the first time on stream Vampire the Masquerade. It is going to be for their My Stuff Bags charity. I'm super excited. It's my second time ever storytelling, and it's my first time doing it on stream. And I'm excited. I can't wait to tell the weird story I got coming. It's gonna be a good time. So as far as I can recall, that is what I have going on, at least for next week, and being here.
Cool. And I'm Zoe. You can find me at Twillick43 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the social medias. I will also be here tomorrow night on Kingdom Hearts Interstitial War with Elliot, playing Captain Amelia, who has made no poor character decision. A very good judge of character. How dare you suggest otherwise?
Why would I judge my captain?
Other than that, I'll be here again next week, facilitating the Riot Starts with these lovely people. I have some other stuff in the works, some stuff over on Martlake Games that I'm really excited about, that I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about it right now, but keep an eye out for that, because it's very, very cool stuff. I also am for a lot of stuff in the works, not out yet. Also, podcast coming to you soon. Very excited for that. That's in the works, so follow me on social media to stay updated with all of that. Other than that, just some announcements before we leave. Tomorrow, of course, Kingdom Hearts Interstitial War, 7:30 p.m. The Treasure Planet finale for that arc. Room for Everyone, a Yaziba's Bed and Breakfast actual play. Applications are open for that and closing on Saturday, so get those in. That's being run by Charm Person Games, which is a local business to me. That is a local Baltimore business, so that is very exciting and very cool. That is for a game system that is not technically out yet, that is still being funded, and that is very, very cool and exciting. And then we have Mezzanine this Sunday at 7:30 as well. No. 8 o'clock. 8:30. Great. I should have checked the time before I started getting into this. Thank you, producer Wes Franks. Yeah, so catch Mezzanine on Sunday. Also check out our sponsors. We have Callow, who makes great supplements. I use Q Sleep and Q Focus, and it is super helpful and super great in staying awake and then going to sleep. Dice Envy, you can get yourself some beautiful dice. They make really great dice. We also have a new sponsor with 1985 games where you can get battle mats, tiles, miniatures, dice, and more. All of these small businesses, you can enter the special code if you follow the links in the chat. And you can get, I think it's 10% off or thereabout for each of them. And that helps us out a lot too. You can also join the Discord. The Discord has a great community that I am a very active part of. It's a lot of great fun. You can stay up to date on everything going on and get to know some of the people involved that way. You can also subscribe to our YouTube, where the VODs will go up and live forever on the internet. You can also contribute to our Patreon. We have a lot of great tiers. Some of them give you a lot of great Discord benefits, like getting to play a monthly game that Wes runs, movie nights with other Patreoners, sneak peeks and special previews to content that the plebes who do not subscribe to Patreon won't get until they're announced to everyone. And you can also buy merch at thirsttrapmothman.threadless.com. There's a lot of great shirts there. There's a lot of great merch for Kingdom Hearts and Comfort Sickle, and a lot of other great stuff that you can buy. And other than that, yeah, I think that's all the announcements. So we will see you next week. And remember, comfort comes soon.